Okay, this is Buckos Math Prep 1, question 7. Question reads, Buck and Jim bought 96 envelopes. Buck bought 22 more than Jim. How many envelopes did Buck buy? All right, this is a simple algebra problem. And you start out by making a little formula. Go Buck, stating B, Buck, plus Jim, the envelopes that Buck bought, plus the envelopes that Jim bought, are 96. They told you that. Then they also told you something else, that Buck bought 22 more than Jim. Now we have a little problem here. When you start doing algebra, later on you'll be able to do it with two unknowns, but we want one variable. These are called variables, the B and the J. We can solve for one of them, but it's really difficult to solve for two at the same time. So if we could say Jim in a different way, by replacing that with something with a B in it, we'd be good to go. Jim, if Buck bought 22 more than Jim, if you took Buck's value and subtracted 22 from it, it would equal to the number that Jim bought. So now a little hat trick that we're going to pull is, wherever we saw Jim, if this is indeed true, and it is, that Buck minus 22 is the same thing as Jim, we're going to take this and plug it in wherever we see the J. So then we'll have only B's. Buck plus Buck minus 22, which is the same thing as Jim, equals 96. So now we got B plus B is equal to 2B. And then you subtract, to get rid of the negative 22, you add 22 to this side. This cancels out to 0, which is cool. And that gives us only letters on the left side of the equation, which is what we want. But remember the teeter-totter rule. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, you got to do to the other side to keep it equal, or the teeter-totter will no longer balance. So we add 22. We add 22 to this side. We have to add 22 to that side. So this all boils down to B plus B is 2B. And this is equal to 96 plus 22 is 118. So moving this little equation up to here, you want, remember, you want to have B by itself. We don't want a 2 with it. We got to get rid of that 2. And the reverse of multiplying by 2, there's no sign in here. That means there's multiplied. The reverse of that, or the inverse operation of multiply by 2, is to divide by 2, which is accomplished by a fraction bar. That's 2 divided by 2, which is 1. And 1 times B is B alone. Any number times 1 is that number. But remember, if I divide by 2 on this side, what do I have to do over here? Teeter-totter rule. Whatever you do on this side, you got to do the same thing over here. So I'm going to divide by 2 over here. These guys cancel. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times B is B. And we have a simple division problem of 118 divided by 2, that'd be 59. Okay, so Buck is equal to 59, and that's what they're asking for. And if you want to test it out, which is kind of cool, you could replace 59 into this, okay, and then subtract 22 from it, and then add it together, and it should equal 96 to prove your own problem. But the answer is indeed 59.